Before we dive into today's episode, we've got a quick favor to ask. If you're enjoying the Shrimp City Report, make sure you're following us on all of our social channels so you never miss an update. And while you're at it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps us grow, and it keeps the show moving forward. Got something to say, a story to tell, or maybe you just want to join us as a guest on the podcast? We'd love to hear from you. Shoot us an email and let's make it happen. Thanks for supporting the Shrimp City Report. Now let's get into the show. Hey everybody, welcome to the Shrimp City Report, the Low Country's finest podcast on entertainment, leisure, living, and history, nature. What else we got going on where we aren't? Yeah. So how you doing, DJ?
I'm doing good. Yeah.
We're on location in one of my favorite places ever.
And let me just go ahead and start saying, thanks for picking out a place that has AC.
Oh, you're quite well.
We're at Charlestowne Landing in Charleston, South Carolina, West Ashley, and we're with John Hiatt. John, how you doing today?
Doing well, thank you. Thanks for having me, and thanks for featuring Charlestowne Landing today.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it was a pleasure. We got a little drive around after hours to see some of the highlights, and we'll talk about those today. Yeah. So, John, where are you from?
So, originally, I'm from what I like to call the northern reaches of the province, North Carolina. Lived in various places in North Carolina growing up. But I've been here in Charleston since 2006.
Okay. So what's your title here at Charlestowne Landing?
So it's Interpretive Ranger.
Okay.
So, and of course, interpretive meaning education. So
Okay.
I do interpretation of the site and also serve as the park historian.
So where did you go to school then?
I went to school for my BA and MA at the University of North Carolina at Greensboro.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool.
Back in the 90s.
Okay. But you're from that area though, right?
Yes.
The Piedmont.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, Piedmont.
Okay, so that made sense.
Yeah.
So were you into history and nature back then?
Definitely.
Mhm.
So I think I have to credit my great-grandmother with really getting me interested in history, who happens to be from South Carolina.
Oh, okay.
She was from South Carolina, I should say. She's passed, unfortunately.
Mhm.
But when I used to go to her house in Mullins, South Carolina,
Know it?
she had all these lavishly illustrated history books.
Mhm.
And I was like 3 and 4 years old and just thumbing through them and just really sparked an interest in history. And interestingly enough, one of my first real interests, to overuse the word interest, was the Revolutionary War. And
okay.
in the 250th right now.
Yeah,
That
that's
was
right.
really what I guess the germ that started the passion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mullins, that's interesting. Had the best Hardee's ever. I remember driving through there half of my family's from Eastern North Carolina, so we'd drive through there on the way. So.
Whereabouts in Eastern?
Near Fayetteville.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have grandparents on my mom's side were from Chadbourne, North Carolina.
Okay,
if you've
cool.
ever heard of that.
Yeah.
The peanut capital.
Yeah.
In that
Wow,
area.
okay.
Yeah. If you like boiled peanuts.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I
Absolutely.
love boiled peanuts. And so we always used to get really good boiled peanuts going to see the grandparents.
I have to remember that.
So you get your education in North Carolina. What put Charlestowne Landing or Charleston in general on your radar?
So when I got out of graduate school and I did my graduate internship with the National Park Service, I was looking for jobs and there just wasn't a lot of opportunity at the time. So I started sending out resumes to everybody and cold calling, saying like, hey, just fresh out of graduate school, these are my, skills, this is what I can do.
Mhm.
And luckily, South Carolina State Parks was developing a new park called, it's now Battle of Musgrove Mill State Historic Site. And they used to just be Musgrove Mill. So
Okay.
I'm trying to get used to that.
Yeah.
The Battle of Musgrove Mill. But so they were looking for someone to do a historic resource study, which is a baseline document where you do a thorough overview of the site history,
Mhm.
as well as an inventory of the historical resources that are still extant. And so they took a chance on me and hired me to do the job. And I got some subsequent contracts with South Carolina State Parks, and one of those was working on the redevelopment here for the exhibit hall at Charlestowne Landing. So they were completely redoing the exhibits in the early 2000s and hired some research historians to come in and create a series of reports that the design fabricator would use.
Keep rolling.
Yeah,
Bush League.
that's right. Happens to the best of us. But yeah, so when I was working on those research reports for the exhibits here at Charlestowne Landing, I got to come up to the site. I was living in Savannah at the time.
Right.
And I was like, wow, this place, it has so much potential because it was going through the redevelopment.
Yeah.
So I could see, long run, what this place would become or could become.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, the history fascinated me. You know, before then, I was always more interested in 18th century colonial history. So Charlestowne Landing sucked me into the vortex of 17th century colonial history.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And it's hard to get back out. You know, it's just so fascinating.
Yeah.
Such a heady time.
I mean, clearly, though, you say sucked in. How long have you been here now?
20 years.
20 years.
This month. Yeah, it started back in 2006. So I love this place.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's
in my blood now.
Yeah, it's interesting how you did that. There is a job that has research survey or whatever when you first went to the first place and then coming here. So you're basically researching and studying and sleuthing to inform them of these site. Hey, this is basically what the site's all about, and these are things we may have never noticed in the past. So
just to try to enhance the depth and accuracy of the interpretation that we do on site.
Yeah,
So using as many primary source documents as possible. You know, sources from the time period.
That really must be satisfying, though, to do that, and then when you come across something that it's like oh wow, I didn't know about that. This is eureka, and it's very satisfying.
Or anything that might put two puzzle pieces together or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how you can reread the same document several different times and get different things out of it, just based on, you know, the day you're having or some new research that you've done, or maybe you have had one of those eureka moments on another topic, and then it's like, ooh, that's clicking, and it didn't before.
Or the minutia.
Overlooking the minutia, right? Yeah.
So for anyone out of town, Charlestowne Landing, we talked about how it's been renovated, but when did it first open up? When did the state first, I guess, portion off the land?
Oh, so first of all, for those who aren't familiar with Charlestowne Landing, I'll define what we are. So Charlestowne Landing State Historic Site is what we like to call the birthplace of South Carolina. This is where South Carolina, as we know it today, got its start more than 350 years ago, back in the year 1670. In April of that year, a group of about 120 English colonists and enslaved Africans, with the assistance of the indigenous Kiowa people, established the first capital of England's Carolina colony right here at this site. That's why it's historically significant and important. And it's been open to the public since 1970. So Charlestown was established in 1670, and 300 years later, Charlestowne Landing opens up as a site to protect the original settlement site.
Okay, awesome. How big? How much square footage do y'all cover?
Or acreage,
acreage,
whatever.
Yeah.
So including marshland buffers, we're at about 664. But about 200 of that is upland terrestrial that you can actually engage. Unless you're in a kayak then or a boat.
Right. So Charlestowne Landing, we'll have pictures, of course, on the website, and we'll have some maps. Charlestowne Landing sits on the Ashley.
Correct.
On the parish of West Ashley, or the St. Andrews Parish, but West Ashley. And so, you know, it's kind of nestled over here. It's not exactly, people are familiar with the peninsula and Fort Moultrie and some other places like that. Do visitors come? I mean, do you have a problem marketing it, or is...
Not really.
Okay.
We see between 100 and 140,000 visitors a year.
Okay.
Which is, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Right.
But you're right. We are kind of in a secluded spot, which is one of the reasons for establishing the settlement here in the first place.
Yeah. That makes a good point. Yeah. What happened to Charlestowne Landing throughout the years, and in 1970 when they decided to make it a state park, or was it already a state park?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
So going all the way back to the beginning, Charlestown's founded in April of 1670. They select this site because of its defensive advantages. You've got a nice bluff of high ground surrounded by a nice marsh buffer with only a small tidal creek providing access.
Yeah, you said it was the highest spot.
It's one of the highest spots on the coastal side of the Low Country. You get up about 35 feet above sea level here, which in an area known as the Low Country, the surface relief is pretty significant.
Oh, absolutely.
But that bluff provided an excellent spot, and having a good source of fresh water was also essential for a settlement. But one of the things that it lacked was a good port. And Old Town Creek, where the Adventure, a replica of a 17th century tall ship, is moored down in Old Town Creek. That is the largest vessel that you can get into that creek. So vessels any bigger than that would have to remain out in the Ashley. And they'd have to use 1 2-ton vessels to ferry goods back and forth, which was pretty inconvenient.
Yeah.
Whereas the Cooper River provided that deep water anchorage.
Right.
And you could get multiple vessels into the Cooper at one time. So it really made an ideal port. So a couple years after establishing Charlestown here on what they also referred to as Albemarle Point, which later got moved to where California Dreaming is. This was the original Albemarle Point. It was right here where Charlestowne Landing is. So they established a second settlement on the Cooper side down near White Point Garden because of the big oyster bed. They called it Oyster Point.
Gotcha.
So Oyster Point was established a couple years after initial settlement. And because you had the better port situation, of course, you did still have the mud flats to deal with, but you could get multiple boats in the Cooper, and eventually they'd start building wharves out to the deeper water.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
But early on, you had to use smaller boats too.
Right.
You could just have more going in and out at the same time. But so in 1679, and Charlestown was founded again in 1670, one of the Lord's proprietors of the colony, Lord Anthony Ashley Cooper, after whom the Ashley and Cooper rivers are named.
Gotcha.
He had 2 rivers.
Yeah.
2 rivers.
Selfish.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
Exactly. He sent a letter to the Grand Council, which was the governing body here in Carolina, the provincial governing body, saying, the place where you've first fixed upon is a nice little spot, but we really think the second town that you have over there, the Oyster Point, is a much better place for a port. So we want you to move the seat of government from the place where you first settled over to Oyster Point, and now call Oyster Point Charlestown, and take all the government offices and everything over there. And so this eventually became known as Old Town.
Did it? Okay.
Because the seat of government had relocated to the peninsula.
Yeah.
And by the 1690s, Old Town had been pretty much abandoned. They had come over and taken all the artillery that was here over to the new location, the peninsular capital. And a French Huguenot immigrant purchased the Old Town site and several hundred surrounding acres and established what became known as Old Town Plantation, which is where Old Town Creek comes from because it was known as Old Town.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Hey, everybody. Devin here from the Shrimp City Report. We want to encourage you to check out the refinery in Charleston, South Carolina. The refinery is a beautiful mixed-use facility featuring upscale office spaces, 2 incredible restaurants, the Limbo Lounge, and an amphitheater that hosts national, regional, and local acts all year long. We really can't recommend it enough. Visit refinerychs.com for event details, venue information, and learn more about everything the refinery has to offer. You can also book spaces for your own events directly through their website, so go check them out. And thanks for supporting local. It's interesting to hear the chronology of how that happened. And also, what was the re-interest in Old Town and then it becoming Charlestowne Landing? Is that something that was a 20th century phenomenon?
It was. As you mentioned earlier, Charlestowne Landing was associated with the 300th anniversary of South Carolina's beginnings. And in the 1960s, the state legislature impaneled a commission called the Tricentennial Commission, and they were going to design and develop a big celebration that was going to go on throughout the whole year of 1970 to commemorate the 300th anniversary of South Carolina's beginnings. So the Tricentennial Commission identified 3 places where they wanted to acquire properties to create exposition parks: Charleston, Columbia, and Greenville. And in Charleston, they were fortunate that the last private owners of this property, the Waring family, the children had gone on to live in other places. So they knew the value and the historical significance of the site, and they wanted it to be preserved in perpetuity. So now they saw the opportunity. The state was looking for a place for an exposition park to really interpret the first 100 years of South Carolina's history. So they were able to sell the property to the state of South Carolina, and it was then developed into Charlestowne Landing. 1670 is what it was known originally.
Okay.
And then the year after, the Tricentennial Commission gave it to state parks, put it under the management of South Carolina.
So it's been state parks since then, huh?
Since 1971.
That's really interesting. I remember on our drive, you had said that part of the original idea was to incorporate local wildlife as well. And y'all still do that to this day, right?
Oh, indeed. Yes. So one of the original ideas was put forth by a television personality and naturalist named Jim Fowler. He was affiliated with a show that NBC used to run, Mutual Omaha's Wild Kingdom.
Yeah, every Sunday before Wild World. Every Sunday before Disney.
Yeah.
And so he suggested that it would be a good idea to have a natural habitat zoo that would contain the type of animals that were native to the Carolinas and that the colonists would have come into contact with when they arrived back in the 1670s. So, and that's not just here in the Low Country, that's throughout the Carolinas, which is why bison.
That blows my mind.
Is that the thing that always, I guess, strikes tourists the most when they come over here, expecting just like your run-of-the-mill state park, but y'all have bison just roaming,
and elk,
otters, bald eagles, everything.
Right. Yeah, and so that was the concept, and our current curator added to that concept by adding domesticated animals, the types of animals that the colonists would have brought with them from Europe.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
I like that.
So sheep and goats, pigs.
So how many species do y'all have then? Do you know off the top of your head?
That's a great question. I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay. Because y'all also have like an apiary for like birds too, right? Yeah.
Yeah, aviary.
Aviary.
Apiary.
And it's because it's mainly a rescue zoo.
Yeah.
The majority of the
really?
in there are rescue.
Honestly, the aviary is one of my favorite spots here.
It is pretty cool.
Just because it's like open walk-in one. You can just walk into the forest and there's birds.
Yeah,
right.
It's super big, and it's really interesting how they kind of built it within, Spanish moss, water oaks, the natural habitat.
Right.
And it really fits well. It doesn't look out of place or anything, is what I'm trying to get to.
Yeah, and I think that was one of the goals was for visitors to be able to go through and get a sense of what the historic landscapes would have been like to a degree.
Do the visitors typically have like a favorite animal? I imagine the otters are probably pretty
must be.
Oh yeah, the otters are huge, and the bear.
That's right.
The bears, yes, they absolutely love the bears.
But yeah, y'all have like a ton of iconic landmarks. Like, I mean, again, we talked about we can go more in depth now. The adventure. When does that date back to again? At least the original.
We're on the second iteration of the adventure right now. The first one was built for the park when it opened in 1970, and just through the years with wear and tear and age, a ship like that, it was rarely going to last during its lifetime, during the age of sails. 30 years. I mean, that's amazing if you could get a vessel like that to last 30 years. So it was retired in 2004, and then its replacement was constructed up in Rockport, Maine, one of the few areas where you still have people with the skills to
I was about to say, was it still like traditional, like building all that stuff?
Right.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, to actually be able to build a reproduction of a historic tall ship.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing. It's a dying art.
Yeah.
But they completed it in September of 2008, and it went through its sea trials, and then they sailed it down here. So
okay,
so
that thing
fully
was
functioning.
Really? It was actually sailed. I was wondering if it was pulled down on a truck or something.
How long is it?
It's about 55 feet
Okay, yeah.
in length. And then if you add the bowsprit on, we go out to, and you're in the 70s now.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
No.
I can imagine being on that sail to the Charlestowne Landing in the boat, people with their modern boats driving by. I'm also like, I'm sorry, is it the 17th century?
Yeah.
What's going on here? Yeah.
You said it was about the biggest size that you're going to get into Old Town Creek.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. To be able to turn around and get back out.
Yeah.
And vessels like the Adventure, they're called ketches.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
They're small cargo vessels, usually anywhere between 20 and 60 tons. The Adventure's right in the middle at about 40 tons. So it's only going to draw 6 feet of water because it has a U shape to its hull. But that also means it's not very hydrodynamic. The crew that brought her down said that she moves through the water like a snowplow.
Okay.
Oh, really? Okay.
So
Very
that,
slow.
again,
moving
for
vessel.
like the original intention being to carry goods back and forth. It's
Yeah.
been a slog. Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. You can't overstate the necessity of those, right? Because I presume Charlestowne Landing, the way it got its food, provisions, weapons, everything's probably right off that creek, right?
Absolutely.
There's nobody, trudging through West Ashley to get to you.
Yeah.
So,
Well, they were able to get some food early on, and they were in desperate need because after they crossed the Atlantic, they arrived in April, and by June, they were running desperately low on food.
okay.
They were having to ration 1 pint of peas a day per person. And so they were able to get some food from the local Native Americans who helped them out. But then they also had to send a vessel to Virginia and one out to Bermuda to try to procure more provisions.
Right on.
Because they were getting low.
Did they ever like delve into like crop growing or like the natural crop growing here?
And that was one of the instructions that they had from the proprietors was once you get there, you need to provide for the belly,
Right.
which some people did and some people didn't.
Okay.
They had a problem with sustaining themselves until about 1673. So the first 3 or 4 years, they clearly weren't growing enough provisions to sustain themselves.
Okay.
And then finally, Lord Anthony Ashley Cooper got tired and essentially said, I'm cutting the credit card. No more going to Virginia, no more going to Bermuda or other colonies and charging provisions on the proprietor's account. And then, hey, they're good. They're able to grow enough food for themselves.
I hate to say it, but I guess even in a foreign land where you know nothing about the environment, really, sometimes you just need that push.
Right.
Yeah, you do. I guess so. They start with gardens and then try to get more sustainable patches, start growing for other seasons. And I mean, I guess they had some farming or agriculture skills.
Well, the proprietors had really hinged their hopes and wanted to organize Carolina's economy around staple crop agriculture.
Yeah.
Right.
In fact, the motto that they selected for the proprietorship is Domitus Cult Orbis Orbis, which means tamed by the cultivators of the earth.
Okay,
It's all wrapped up in English ideology about possession of land. In order to truly own land, you had to have improved it through agriculture.
I think that makes total sense. Living in Charleston all my life, you can't throw a stone without saying, like going into a historical site, like, oh, we used to grow lavender, or we used to grow like rice or something here,
Oh, right.
Yeah.
And so that hunt for a viable cash crop was really important in the early years, so much so that Lord Anthony Ashley Cooper and 2 of the other proprietors, Peter Colleton and Carteret, established an experimental test station, if you will. They didn't come over here themselves, but they hired a deputy, a man named Joseph West, to oversee the operation of the experimental garden. It's known as the Proprietary Plantation, and they were given instructions to plant sugarcane, ginger root, olives for oil production, as well as cotton, and there's indigo.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, indigo, yeah.
And then various grapes. But then anything that they could try over there. We have records of other colonists experimenting with dates, pomegranate, a variety of citrus. We're just trying to find, that one cash crop that could make Carolina the next big thing in the English Empire in terms of its production. And ultimately, they would have success with rice.
Rice,
yeah, for
and
sure.
then
But
Tea
tobacco
seemed like
early
it was,
on.
yeah.
It was tobacco early on.
Right.
That's what
Okay, yeah.
everybody was doing it. So it's like, hey, Virginia, Chesapeake, they're doing it. So we might as well try it here.
Hey, where there's a demand,
Right.
Yeah.
That was actually the first merchantable crop sent out of Charlestown was tobacco.
Really?
Okay, well.
But they were also doing a lot of timber production too, in addition. So they were taking advantage of the resources here. So resource exploitation in addition to trying to find that cash crop.
Okay.
Okay.
So y'all also have a lot of like trails and gardens here.
That we do.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that most of them hit like at least 5 landmarks just on the walk.
Yeah, one of the great things about Charlestowne Landing is it's a beautiful green space here in West Ashley. We have 3 miles of paved trails throughout the park and additional unpaved trails. And one of the things that really gives this place its charm is we're fortunate. I talked about the Waring family, the last private owners of the property. Real Renaissance woman by the name of Ferdinanda Legree Waring. Ferdinanda is kind of a mouthful, so she was known affectionately as Ferdy.
Okay.
Ferdy laid out roughly 80 acres of gardens on the site.
Really?
Planting 2,000 camellias and an equal number of azaleas. The Avenue of Oaks she put in the 1940s up to the Waring House.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
The Magnolia Avenue leading up to the Ori Lucas ruins in the circle in the middle of the park. She planted those, as well as just something of interest for every season. Hollies. We have fragrant magnolias, of course, but gardenias and tea olive. The tea olive, it's a wonderful fragrance. So there's either something, a leaf color or a berry or a flower all year round. And it just really gives this place an extra layer of beauty.
Yeah, absolutely.
God bless her for doing all that.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like a complete effort, but
Putting in work that you're never going to really see. you know?
but it does give you that legacy, really. And that the Legree Waring house is awesome. Where it sits on, right over there, kind of on the pond or whatever that water feature would be called.
Well, you made a great point about not being able to see it because one of the things that I do, if I in the off season, I will do tours of the Legree Waring house, but it's mainly about Ferdy because there's not a lot of original pieces in the Waring house. So the tour culminates there, but it's really just about her life.
Right.
And one of the things that I point out is that, if you're a painter, you can take your canvas and your paints and go to a site, paint it over a few days, maybe make some refinements and tweaks over a couple, weeks or so. If you're a photographer, you can just, click. Of course, it takes a little more work than that. You got to get the ISO right and the f-stop. But if you're a landscape gardener, it could take a lifetime to realize your plan.
Yeah.
And you have to start small, plant little plants, and then leave enough room for them to grow into. So, I think that was astute observation.
I mean, again, tons of historical sites everywhere here. Not just like we talked about the original colonies, but even like African American, the African American cemetery.
Yes.
And the Native American ceremonial site too, right?
Yeah. So after Charlestown moved in 1680, by the 1690s, the site had been pretty much abandoned, and then it became Old Town Plantation. So the African American cemetery most likely originated in the 18th century and served the enslaved community at Old Town. By the 19th century, at the turn of the 18th to the 19th century, Old Town becomes a Sea Island cotton plantation.
Okay.
And at the height of Sea Island production on the eve of the American Civil War, there were 117 enslaved people toiling on the property. And so that cemetery served that community.
Okay, gotcha.
Driving through the belly of South Carolina, where you see most of the still producing cotton, I never thought about it being so close to the shore or to being so in the low country. Cotton all the way down to the Ashley River. That's just that's news to me.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's a different type of cotton. It's a longer staple cotton. So it's more like modern day Pima cotton than it is the upland cotton. which is a shorter staple variety, which was grown inland. And then right around the littoral of the coast of South Carolina and Georgia is really the only places that you could grow the Sea Island variety.
I did not know there was a
I thought it was all just one.
Yeah. Wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
See, we're learning stuff
The
already.
longer staple of the Sea Island cotton made a higher quality fabric than the
Okay.
shorter staple.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So you mentioned, DJ, the Native American ceremonial site.
Yes. So the archaeologists who excavated on the site before the park opened back in they were excavating in the late 1960s in preparation for Charlestowne Landing's opening, identified a very significant Native American site, most likely associated with the Mississippian culture, which originates around 900 of the Common Era in the Mississippi Valley. These are more highly stratified and specialized polities, which agricultural has allowed for them to stay sedentary rather than moving around and foraging as much. And so what they're really famous for are the mounds, the mound building. Now, not all Mississippian sites had mounds, but like Cahokia and Etowah in Georgia, if you've ever been to one of those sites, Cahokia in Illinois. So based on some of the artifacts that were discovered there and some carbon dating, they believe that the site was first in use around 1300.
Okay.
And then by the time the colonists had arrived, it was no longer in use.
Oh, really?
Wow, okay.
For reasons unknown, but we can only speculate.
So I'm interested. You basically have a wealth of history in one. I mean, a place, honestly, you could walk across,
And intersections of different time periods of history. Yeah.
Like, do you still get, you get new, we talked about it before, do you still get new information daily or like every year, do you get a new piece or is it one of those things where?
Well, definitely through archaeology.
Okay.
Yeah.
Indeed. And we still have ongoing archaeology out here. We have a staff archaeologist who's, for every day you spend in the field, you're spending weeks in the lab going through the things that you found. But our main site that has been excavated really since about 2008, and we're still there, is just amazing what the finds are revealing here. It's, in fact, forced us to change our interpretation regarding architecture.
Yeah, I was going to ask.
In Charlestown.
Y'all have, I know, a ton of education, not just on the trails, but like y'all do a lot of classes too and like events. Do y'all I assume y'all update that as soon as you get the new information out?
We try. Yeah. Sometimes we'll take artifacts that we've recovered recently and put them on display. And we have an artifact box in our exhibit hall where we have, what's the word I'm looking for? Not recurring, but
seasonal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Seasonal.
Yeah. That works.
Yeah.
Epics.
Yes.
Yeah, like rotational, if you will. So,
sure.
And then integrating new things into programs as we learn. We do a public program and say, oh yeah, we found this really cool new button, or we found this bead, to be able to talk about it that way.
That must be pretty satisfying too, to be able to, you have a curriculum that can possibly change just one afternoon when your staff archaeologist is working on there.
Right.
I bet there would be a lot of people that are surprised that there is active archaeology going on here.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And that's what Charlestowne Landing is. I mean, if you come to Charlestowne Landing hoping to see extant structures from 1670, unfortunately, there's none still standing. So we are an archaeological site. But our current archaeological excavation is open to the public occasionally. Usually when it's nice and cool, because we have a weather port. It's like a greenhouse covering it. So we don't have to cover the active dig with plastic and hope the rain doesn't get down and wash away the units. So we put literally, I call it the greenhouse of archaeology because it is so hot in there in the summertime that we don't do tours during the summer. But during the spring and fall, our archaeologist does tours where you can actually come in and see the excavation and learn from her.
Oh,
She's
wow.
incredibly knowledgeable. And every time I go into a program and talk to Nicole, I'm like, wow.
Yeah, so
it's amazing.
Let's dip into that. You mentioned tours. I know y'all also have a lot of classes. I assume y'all get schools every month, even every weekly.
Yes. So school groups really start in earnest in September and go through December before the Christmas break, and then start back up again in February. But we do curriculum-based programs. It's our Discover Carolina series. We do those from September to December, and then from March to May. And we have a third and fourth grade program that meets the curriculum standards of fourth grade, and then a seventh and eighth grade program as well.
And then I saw online, you've got tons of events and classes that you don't have to be a part of a school. You could just join in. In fact, I was looking at some looking through today, like habit hopping, setting a patriot table, and shorebird snacks.
Right.
Like, it seems like there's not only emphasis on education, but fun too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, because you need to have fun sometimes,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it helps facilitate the learning process too, if you're enjoying yourself.
Right.
Of course, there are more serious topics too as well. One of my favorite programs that I do is called Bathe at Your Own Risk.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Wow.
It's about hygiene in the 17th century, or lack thereof, according to modern standards. But,
that's very cool.
Yeah, trying to look into aspects of culture and daily life.
And that's offered here. Okay.
Yeah. Probably from the history education side of things, probably our most popular program are the Great Guns on the Ashley artillery demonstrations.
Right. The demonstration.
That's right. You do that.
Yeah. On the first Saturday of 8 months out of the year. We take a break in January and August.
Yeah.
And then in April and November, we pair the artillery with our living history events that we do then. So in April, it's Founders Day, where we commemorate the founding of Charlestown. So on the second Saturday in April. And then in November, it's Colonial Trades and Harvest Day, which is on the second Saturday in November. So we'll fire the guns
I'm surprised we forgot. I mean, we literally lived down the road right on the marsh where we would hear it. Because, it just echoes off that marsh. We can always hear it. Yeah.
It does. You get a quite the combustion happening there.
Yeah.
And depending on the barometric pressure, I mean, it can really be loud. And then you get that wafting smoke back. You can't even breathe after some of the demonstrations.
So how long do those demonstrations usually go with them?
So we fire at 1, 2, and 3 o'clock, and it's an interpretive program.
Okay.
So we discuss the defense of the colony, the formation of the provincial militia, because there were no professional soldiers protecting Charlestown. The colonists had to be citizen soldiers here. And we discuss, the Spanish threat, since Spain also claimed what the English called Carolina, and we're firmly entrenched down in Florida. So we cover all that stuff before we get to the big boom at the end.
Right on.
Okay.
Do you have some big gun groupies that come out a lot to see them often?
We have some repeat fans.
That's what I was saying. I would love that. I remember, like DJ was saying, we would hear those, and it was always like, man, I forgot to go see the guns again.
Yeah, there's definitely a fan club.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, especially seeing stuff live or a practical setting. So you have a class called Colonial Cultivation, right? Is
a program?
A program called Colonial Cultivation. Are we getting our hands dirty doing that? Or how does something like that go?
It can, if it's like the actual planting in the garden. We have done things like that.
Oh, okay, cool.
Or at least assisting with watering. They had these really cool ceramic vessels in the 17th century that were kind of conical shaped and had the base was perforated with holes, and there was a handle at the top, and you would immerse it in a bucket of water, let it fill up, and then lift it out, and now the water's pouring out of the holes
through gravity.
So you can water crops that way. But we do have programs that are hands-on, interactive. Like, for instance, one that Gillian, nature-based Interpretive Ranger, who does focuses more on the ecological and biological side of things here at the park. She does an indigo dyeing program where people actually get to participate in the dyeing. Indigo was one of those cash crops that they experimented with early on, and it would eventually become one of South Carolina's big exports, but it would be like 70 years after. They didn't want to deal with it back then. They were like, it grows really well here, but it's actually a really malodorous production.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I never thought about that. Of course, I've never seen it.
Yeah.
It's fermenting plant material.
Right.
So we don't
Right,
actually do it from plant to dye.
Yeah.
We mix up the dye separately. But
Gotcha.
you
Yeah,
then
sure.
get to experience the magic of the oxidation reduction that you can see, because when you dip it in to the vat, when the fabric comes out of the dye, it's green, and then it interacts with the oxygen.
It is fascinating how different it'll look just from the water to dipping it the first time, just honestly waiting 30 seconds after.
Yeah. It's really cool to experience that.
So got a ton of school, people coming over, you get a lot of classes. Y'all also have a hell of a venue that we're currently at right now as well.
So we're in the Founders Hall, right?
Yeah, Founders
That's correct.
Hall.
Yeah, this is our newer community center, which means it's of 21st century origins. This was completed back in 2008. And so it's LEED certified building and serves a variety of different purposes. I mean, you can rent it out for corporate events, mainly used for weddings, though.
Okay.
Yeah, this is one of two for your major wedding venues. Yeah.
Then we also have the historic Legree Waring House, which was on the western side of the park.
Right.
So kind of bookended with an event space.
So those get probably booked out pretty far
in advance.
ahead.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, they're two of Charleston's really premier venues.
Yeah, for sure. And this place is one of Charleston's premier places. So that's kind of interesting. You had said when we were walking around checking things out that sometimes there will be a wedding in both locations 4 times a week or something.
Absolutely.
That's a lot of herding cats, I'm sure.
A lot of traffic. Indeed.
To that point, do you, I'm sure you have your basic staff, but how about volunteers? Do you have volunteers working here that help out?
Yes. We rely heavily on volunteers. In fact, in the education department, I have right now, with some out-of-state people as well, more than 20 volunteers that come in and help us, mainly with living history side of things, but with other projects as well as needed.
Right.
And I know that the Animal Forest has a very large number of volunteers.
Oh, yeah, I bet they do.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so we couldn't do it without our volunteers.
Yeah, so attrition's probably pretty bad with the bears and the cougars. So we need another intern. I'm just kidding. It's completely safe here.
Exactly.
So, yeah, so you got the venues, you have the education. It really is, a one-stop around here. If I wanted to, or if any of our listeners wanted to do a program, a class,
volunteer.
Venue, can we get everything on the website?
Yes. So if you go to southcarolinaparks.com, we have a nice little park finder that it's an interactive map. So you just find the park, click on it, and then it'll bring up that parks page. And then we have multiple tabs that will give you venue information, upcoming programs. Some of our sites even have educational videos on them.
Yeah,
if you
I saw
can't make
that.
it to the park, you can at least or at least get a taste of what you might see. And most of that information can be gleaned right off of the website. And then you can always, like if you're interested in volunteering, you're going to need to fill out a form.
Right.
So that would just be better to come into the visitor center, get the form, and drop that off. And then you can make sure it gets in somebody's hands.
Now you said that you made videos as well, and that was kind of out of necessity during the pandemic.
Yeah. So during the pandemic, state parks wide, we had a moratorium on public programming because of social distancing and all that. And so they decided, hey, we still need to reach an audience, so let's start doing videos. And a lot of it at first was live, like Facebook Live or whatever these things were. And then it was like, well, let's start making actual short little videos. And on educational topics. And one of the first ones I did is one of our volunteers and I tried to build a structure, a small house, we'll say, a tiny home, the way that we think the colonists would have when they first arrived, using naturally forked posts called cratchits. I like to call it the crutch of unskilled labor because you don't really need a lot of skill. You just find a tree with a natural fork in it, chop it down, shave off the bark, and now you've got a post with a fork at the top. And they would build the frame of the roof separately out of lightweight material. And then one group of people would hold those cratchits upright in post holes. The other group would lift up the frame of the house and they'd plop it right in those forks.
Oh, very interesting.
Okay,
Lash
gotcha.
it down, backfill the holes, thatch the roof, wattle and daub the walls. So while we were trying to do this building production, it's like, well, let's film it. Let's make videos about it. And so then I just kept doing more and more different topics. And I've just really, it's something, I guess, if there are any silver linings to the pandemic, you know, it's not even a topic you should even bring up. But I never would have known how much I enjoy producing videos. It's not happened because we were forced into it, essentially, in a way.
Yeah.
That
We'll definitely share those. That's very interesting because, you know, I was thinking of putting a gazebo or pergola in the backyard, but now I might make one of those.
You got to go cratchits.
Yeah. Well, any other upcoming things we want to look out for with Charlestowne Landing?
So 4th of July is coming up. It also happens to coincide with our first Saturday Great Guns on the Ashley program.
Oh, perfect.
Now, of course, we're 100 years before the American Revolution here, so it'll just be another day on
of shooting
calendar
guns
for us. But this property was also occupied by the British Army during the Siege of Charleston and used as a supply base and staging area.
Right.
And there was even, oddly enough, and this is one of those curious twists of fate, is literally 100 years after Charlestown moves to the peninsula, a British army has come back and is occupying the original settlement site and firing an artillery piece from the original settlement site at the 1670 or 1680 iteration of Charlestown, the second Charlestown. Just kind of mind-boggling. Think about that. So we'll probably discuss a little bit of that on July 4th. Since it is very appropriate being the 250th. But nothing real big coming up over the summer. But when we get into the fall, our annual Piecing Together the Past with Archaeology will be on the third Saturday in October. October 13th. October 17th. And then our Fall Living History Festival, Colonial Trades and Harvest Day is on November 14th.
That sounds super interesting.
Yeah, so that's a living history event where we focus more on the daily lives and the trades needed to sustain the colony. Founders Day in April is more of the establishment of Charlestown, a little more military focused. Trades is a little more domestic side of things.
I think there's a place for all of that, of course. Yeah. And there's a place for everybody at Charlestowne Landing. It's beautiful. The aromas are amazing. The history. I love the fact that this is literally an archaeological site endeavor constantly. So I think that's honorable and especially honorable to the history of South Carolina that this is still going on. And, you know, I was telling you earlier when I grew up here, the exposition, it was an exposition. There was a lot of modern looking stuff, the pavilion and everything.
I call it intergalactic architecture.
It really was. It was very mid-century and futuristic, which was kind of stark compared to what this was. But now, not that was bad, but now I think you really do have a cut of what it was like here. Yeah. You know, so kudos to everybody. So,
well, thank you.
Well, we appreciated having you today, and we'll get this podcast out. What we will do is not only have the information to the social media, everything, how to get to that, we'll also make sure that we get John's videos up there and do a little link off of that.
Post some videos ourselves too.
Yeah, that'll be great.
Awesome.
So, anyway, John, we appreciate
you, gentlemen.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
Thanks for having us and showing us around.
Absolutely. Really enjoyed talking with you. It's a great conversation.
All right, so that's it for this week with the Shrimp City Report. Of course, we'll be back again next week. And from Devin and DJ and John Hiatt, y'all have a good week. God bless.